It's my pleasure to introduce our guest this afternoon, Pam Lopker. Just real briefly, I'll give you a bio on Pam. She's the chairman and board and president of QAD. And if you don't know QAD, it's probably one of the largest companies in Santa Barbara. It's with Yardi, it's probably the largest software company in the area. And it's been a successful company since 1979 when she founded it. And she's responsible for shaping the vision and strategic direction of QAD, as well as directing the company's global research and development efforts. So Pam earned a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics from UCSB. She's certified in Production and Inventory Management by the American Production and Inventory Control Society. She's an active member of the Santa Barbara community, and I'd like you to welcome Pam Lopker. And interviewing Pam today will be our own silver tongue, Bonnie Chavez, who's chair of our Business Administration Department. Thank you.
For all of my students hooping and hollering, I'll remember that for sure.
We're looking for that A.
Absolutely. Welcome all of you. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening, and an opportunity to hear some amazing insights from a person I think you're going to walk away inspired by this evening. So Pam, welcome once again. It's great to see you. As Guy has indicated, you graduate from UCSB in 1979 with a degree in...
77.
77, excuse me, so we get that right. With a degree in mathematics and econometrics, I believe you told me.
Right.
So my question to you is, at that point, did you know what your life was going to be like? Did you have a sense of what you wanted to do?
No, I didn't really. I knew, that I wanted to find a job, a good job. I wanted to be able to support myself, and I needed to pay off my college bills because I had, college loans graduating. I knew my senior year, I started thinking, I have to find a trade, what can I do? And I went and took the test at the placement center, and it came out that you should be an actuary. I went, I did hear a joke about that. The difference between an accountant and an actuary is an actuary has no personality. So I thought, well, I haven't met many accountants with personality either. So my senior year, I decided that perhaps computer science was the up-and-coming thing. So I went over to the engineering department and took as many computer science classes as I could. I think I ended up with maybe 5 classes that year, which was a lot for, but I took them for electives and was able to leverage that into what I thought a good career.
So you didn't anticipate that once you were done with school, you were going to go out and start your own business? Was that something you were thinking about?
No, I really wasn't. When I was in school and graduating, I was really looking for a career. How could I graduate and get placed in a professional career track? And I did that by at a company called Comtech, who's been since acquired, but we had a contract with Raytheon. So I wrote software basically for Raytheon for a couple years before I started my own business.
Okay. And at that point in time, did you, when you started your business, I know you started your business with your husband, Carl.
Yep.
Did you sit down and formulate a plan at that time? Was this just kind of an organic process?
No, we certainly formed a plan. And so Carl and I weren't married at the time, but Carl and I think a person that spoke maybe last year, Doug Otto, founded Deckers. So I think Deckers was one of those companies that kind of started without much of a plan. They were, Carl was making sandals and selling them at the beach, and Doug was starting to sell them at different swap meets, and it grew into Deckers. But they did, once they started actually renting an office space and a factory, did start creating business plans. But Carl was trying to get me to write software for Deckers because they were at that point that they needed business software. And I resisted. I didn't want to work for Deckers. I didn't want to work for, at the time, my boyfriend. But at the time, we started saying, well, if I wrote software, what could it be? I could start my own company, and what would that company look like? So we very much did create a business plan and look at how I could get started and how it would be funded and what it could grow to.
I'm curious because a lot of students ask me quite frequently about the importance of a business plan. Did you have any formal training or experience in writing a plan like this? And if not, how did you go through that process?
No, I really didn't. In fact, graduating from UCSB, I knew little or nothing about accounting. And in fact, Carl, starting Deckers, knew little or nothing about accounting, but good thing his mother was quite a good, what she called a bookkeeper at the time, but I would say quite a good accountant. So she had helped set up books and trained Carl on accounting. So Carl trained me on accounting, and I got to say it's not simple. I kept on saying, now, accounts payable, that means I owe you or you owe me. Which way does that go? Because receivables and payables, and then again, general ledger, that's just the weirdest name, don't you think? What war was he in anyway? So we had quite a few lessons on accounting, and in fact, came over to City College and bought an accounting book out of your bookstore, and read through all that, learning what an income statement was and a balance sheet. So it was definitely something that I didn't know, needed to learn, and I think it took a good 6-8 months before I knew a debit and a credit and all that type of stuff. And but that's just a basic part of business, is understanding accounting and how to keep your books and what's an asset and what's a liability and what's actually income and what's expense. And I think I was thinking of our daughter, trying to teach her that, our daughter and son, when they were about 5 or 6, and they were doing a lemonade stand. And they, of course, made all the cookies and the lemonade and put it down the street, and they made about $40, and they were really happy. And I said, okay, now you need to pay me for the cost of goods. And they're saying, what do you mean? I go, well, the lemonade and the brownies that we bought at the store. And they go, oh, no, that's just free. That's, They didn't like that concept, but I think you do have to learn that.
Absolutely. I run across, more often than not, students who come to me and ask me a number of different questions. And one of the questions that I get often is students asking me about what they should do in their future, and not clear what they should be doing or should be studying academically. And I often try to encourage them to pursue a career or an academic program that somehow blends in with their natural passions in life, what gets their blood going, what gets their juices flowing. And I'm just wondering, do you think that successful entrepreneurs like you have to be passionate about their business?
You absolutely have to be passionate about your business, otherwise you won't enjoy doing it, therefore you won't do it. And if you do start a business, or even in most careers, you're going to be working not just 40 hours a week, not even just 60 hours a week, but it's something that you think about and take with you every minute of your waking day, and oftentimes your sleeping night as well. So it's got to be something that you enjoy. I always, when I interview people and they're looking at a particular area, they say, oh, well, I want to apply for this job designing user interface. And I go, well, what books do you, what magazines do you read on user interface? What products? Tell me about 5 products that you know, and which ones have a good user interface, and which one have a poor user interface, and what you would do to improve that poor one. And if they can't explain it to me, well, then they're not really interested in a career in designing user interface. So it really has to be something that's passionate and internalized, and that it becomes, there's no line between, work and play, because it's all one.
That's really interesting, and I want to carry that over now. I've got a number of questions, but one of the things that I noticed in my visit to your facility last week, when you were kind enough to have us out,